I was looking on Indiechron and had some thoughts on the website presentation itself and tips for creators who are trying to sell their books. I noticed that the best book on Indiechron was by a black guy, and the worst book on Indiechron was by a black guy, which is kind of funny when you consider what the pros at Marvel are saying about comicsgate. I also noticed that one book was missing, Flying Sparks by Jon Del Arroz, but more on that later. When you go to Indiechron, you can scroll through the active titles. There's a small icon that tells you the name and the funding amounts, status, and whatnot. So one thing to consider is that most people are looking at these things on tablets or cell phones. So a title like this, The Elemental Balance, is really good. You see an attractive woman standing in a lava field. It's going to be action adventure. It really pops out at you. A title like Fishtown isn't so good. It doesn't tell you anything about anything. Something like Hero, you can look at the icon immediately. You know it's a kid's book. It tells you something about it. A Song of Mice and Fur. I looked this one over. It's hysterical. It's kind of a Watership Down or a Redwall type story. The guy who what's his name, Brian Jocks, wrote Redwall, and it looked really, really funny. So I hope it gets funded. The Black Forest, icon like this, it's kind of busy. I can't really tell what's going on, especially on a tablet or a cell phone. Dusty Tortillas, that looks real good. It jumps out at you. Downcast, a nice clear image. You can see, I assume that's the protagonist being thrown out a window, so it's kind of telling you in one image that they're not taking things too seriously. This is a good pick. Night, dark setting. You can kind of tell what's going on with it. A Tarantino-esque vendetta. And actually, I read the pages on this, and it looks really good, too. The Case of Littlest Umbrella, that looks great. Jawbreakers, obviously, that's going to be an amazing book. Sporkman Goes to Japan, kind of reminded me of the Toxic Avenger, the Troma films. The Maiden's War, two chicks holding maybe World War I era rifles. Vestige, hot chick holding a World War I era rifle. Boobs go a long way. Lone Star looks good. Anyway, I found this book that is the worst book in comicsgate, but plot twist, I hope it gets funded because the storyline is really, really good. And when I say it's the worst book in comicsgate, this cover is by Canales, I believe, and the cover looks fantastic. Hot chicks, some kind of vampire zombie in the background. That really, really speaks to me. But the interior art is not quite ready for publication yet. Some of it's good. The interior artist is really good at women's bodies, but the faces aren't quite there. So you can tell what he's focusing on. See, it looks a little funny to me. This is a pretty good composition. I like that blood red moon in the background. You see, look how he draws the body. he really nails the body anatomy, but the faces just aren't there yet. This is pretty rough. But the thing is, the storyline is really good. It's about zombies and vampires. It's called Epitaph, Bread and Salt, Beginning of the End. It has a great story, mediocre art, okay name. I love the zombies and vampire angles. So it is the worst book in comicsgate, but I hope it gets funded because I think it's a lot of fun. And it's by Time Code Mechanics, and he has a YouTube channel. He talks about the book in a little bit more depth. The best book I found on Indiechron website, the gateway for Comicsgate, is Brand by Antonio Bryce and Kanan White. It has the best art, it has a good story, and it has a very stupid name. Check out check out the art. This is just phenomenal. That is just jumping off the screen at me. Kind of a reminiscent of the Joker. That I think they have that on a T-shirt. That looks phenomenal. Look at this. Look at who doesn't want this? But this, look at this. This is a static pose. So while it looks really good, it doesn't tell you much about the artist, because static poses are relatively easy. Well, they're easier to draw than dynamic poses. Showing a body in motion is actually pretty difficult for an artist. But here's the dynamic pose, and he nails it. He just blows the doors off it. Look at this. This would make a great poster. Some kind of evil, psychopathic Santa Claus battling the good guy. Laser beams in the background. This looks fantastic. I wanted to take a look at Flying Sparks Volumes 1 and 2. It's available on Kickstarter. The second graphic novel, #1 best-selling author Jon Del Arroz, art by Jethro Morales of Green Hornet fame. This art looks very good. Let's see. That's probably the cover art by Shipman and Smith. That looks rock solid. Lighthearted, fun. I like where they're going with this. And some of the interior art is really, really good. Though it's listed on Kickstarter, and Kickstarter's layout is not very good. Indiegogo has a much better website design than Kickstarter. But I don't know why he didn't list it on Indiegogo. Anyway, this is a pretty good looking book, and it wasn't on Indiechron, and I don't know why it wasn't listed on Indiechron. It seems kind of a little mean girlish. Anyway, let me know what you think.